All right, everybody, good afternoon and welcome on back. Continuing along, of course, our Tuesday post-Traders Talk edition of our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Should be good to go, though. Great to see all of us. Pat, Ron, Greg, Jose, William, Joe, Jake, Gene, Guy. You guys are tripping me up here. The J's, the G's, Chuck, Kathleen, who had a phenomenal day today as well. I should say as usual at this point, Kathleen. Very nice trading from Kathleen. Bonnie, loud and clear. Leda, as always, a pleasure. So let's hop into it, guys. And like I said, welcome on back for all of us joining across the board on Facebook Live and YouTube. And really quick, allow me just to have the chance to say thank you, guys, so much for joining us live just earlier this morning. We kind of did a rare instance of what you would normally see in our live trading room. We ended up doing more of an intermediate style workshop called Traders Talk. That should be on our YouTube channel right now. So make sure that you guys just catch us live. You can go right to our YouTube page or subscribe right to youtube.com/cybertradingu. We'll try and do those probably a couple or a few times a year. But otherwise, if you'd like to join us and see what happens week over week, that would be the best way to do it. Just join us live in our trading room. But for right now, though, guys, the VXRT going into the afternoon, I mean, pretty much where we had left off from Traders Talk. I was telling you guys, look out for a potential pop breakout over resistance at 15, see at least a higher high. We ended up seeing a lot of volume get filled there earlier from this morning, ended up holding underneath there going into the late morning, early afternoon, as I had said. So where we had left off, I mean, I was pretty much saying, just look for a potential pop, see what you can get if it can break out over 15 again. For as much as it moved up over the last few days, perhaps it could be a pop and drop, but make sure you have a tight stop, play it safe. But of course, we ended up seeing VXRT do just that. Ended up re-breaking above that resistance 15, topped off at 1550, moved up to 16 over time. And yeah, right near the highs right now going into the end of the day. So, certainly going into the close, we'll keep the VXRT trade back, or we'll put it back on our list rather, keep it on our list. Get a new piece of paper here going into the afternoon. Also the Dow, I mean, what a recovery. Ended up making a nice pop later on going into the morning and going into the afternoon at the highs. So perhaps at the end, we'll check in with some of the side list stocks, see where they're at. But for right now, yeah, VXRT, I'll definitely keep on our list here. Actually, we'll have the chance. I want to take a quick look on our level 4 right now. I still have it up from earlier. All right, so I'll show it to you guys pretty quick here. Going into the close for VXRT, it's been kind of holding underneath 1650. You have more volume on the offer currently at 17, pretty much 17 to 18 bucks. Your next two big levels ahead. A lot of selling coming in on the bid recently here around 1611. So my belief, I mean, as usual, it might happen right now as we speak. It's not breaking higher, folks. Might be ready for a nice drop. We have the VWAP all the way down sub 15. Wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing this shake all the way back down towards there by the end of the day if it fails to make a clean hold and pop pretty shortly. So yeah, I mean, for right now, we're given the opportunity, given the volume, it's still trading a very good stock to keep in mind going into the afternoon. Just don't try and jump in off the bid, catch the falling knife, because the drop could be pretty nasty otherwise. All right, so with that, the VXRT was one stock we did pretty well on from yesterday, from today, and of course, hopefully this afternoon. Oh, whoops, I did not mean to do that. Skipped right over it. The RIGL trade, look at this thing go. Nice, I am currently long. So we've been playing this trade pretty much across the whole day from the pre-market leading into the market open. For a stock that was up, so-and-so percent, you would figure it would pull back right at 930. Ended up popping right out the gate. Ended up moving up so much it ended up getting halted roughly around 350-ish. Actually, I have to give a quick shout out to David A in our trading room here. David ended up pointing out earlier something that I just didn't really pick up on, at least at the time. And once I saw it, I had to put the line up there. So this actually went right back from what we had covered in Traders Talk earlier today, isn't it? We ended up seeing earlier today, once RIGL opened up from a halt. David, correct me if I'm wrong here. I think you would know this. It was like an 850,000 share transaction on the time and sales. Once this opened up, we ended up seeing a huge print on the tape on the time and sales, ended up making a strong pop up towards the high of the day, but slammed right back down at the time. That yellow line is that print. So that was roughly off of 439. We ended up just seeing this make a pop over 439. I'm still in this trade right now. I might have to move my stop up to see it, and maybe I just take a profit if it shakes a lower under 438. At least here in the meantime, trying to build a higher low. I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls back towards this price. Maybe I'll move my stop a little bit lower than that, expecting maybe a little drop, then pop back up. I think it's going to shake around here a bit, guys, then perhaps move up going into the afternoon. I like the start of this move, though, so far. Yeah, RIGL definitely going to keep on our list as well here, alongside the VXRT. All right, anybody in this trade right now in our trading room? I'm currently in from 418. 418 or 419. We get the line of 439, line of 450 here. If anyone's in from 450, just be prepared for a bit of a shake, maybe consolidation around that range. Jake says, good RIGL shout. Hopefully it keeps going into the close, Jake. We'll see. All right, so we went through the VXRT, the RIGL. Pretty much at this point, I mean, I gotta say, I mean, as we always do, but really, I mean, the ones that we've covered from this morning, the ones that we traded, are really like across the board, 1 through 10. The BOXL trade ended up making a nice pop leading into the market open. So let's cover this move from at least the morning. At this point going into the afternoon, I think it's easy for me to just say I'm not going to put it on our list. But at least from this morning, it was one that I wanted to cover quickly. Ended up pulling back from the pre-market highs going into the morning. So it's not one that I would have banked on just pulling back instantly. Ended up popping up, setting up a nice trend across the early morning. Moved up essentially towards that 240-ish price. The first sharp peak there, pulled back pretty nicely, held a higher low off 2, moved up towards the high of the day there. We ended up getting out pretty much right in the nick of time, ended up dropping off from a big sell-off. We had a big iceberg order, ended up getting filled roughly off the high, 265. So if you see that big volume spike here, that's not from that spike, that's shortly afterwards once it ended up breaking much lower. Pretty much right before that, 1037, we ended up seeing the break of support at 265, pretty much right near the high there at the time. Big iceberg on the bid that got filled shortly after, big drop. So yeah, for right now, I mean, I like the volume the stock is still trading here, 63,000 shares per minute. It's quite a lot. But given the run up today, given the run up yesterday, I would expect this to kind of just flatten here. There is the shake on RIGL. Uh-oh, maybe I go back to that, Pat. So Kathleen also said that she was in it just before. She said, whoops, I just sold it. So, hey, if you didn't respond because you were trading it, Kathleen, and getting out, that's the better, that's probably the better thing to do. Uh-oh, probably should have set my stop right then and there, right, guys? All right, I might need to react quick here. All right. Nah, I just lost a good chunk of that profit, damn. And this might just begin to shake lower now here. Stops underneath 420, so it's going to be a scratch trade if I get stopped. A little pop back up there, but I think it's going to continue. That's a bigger shake than I thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to probably shake maybe if it were to break below 438, probably drop down towards 430. A little bit lower of a shake than I thought. Latest sound breaking up. Are we good, guys? Audio, at least across the trading room. Good, good, good. All right, cool. Just double checking. I was in the office earlier today. I'm doing this from my house right now, my home office. So a little change of scenery here. All right, so up. Damn, I just got stopped out right at 418. All right. Damn, that was just a profit wasted. I mean, it's not going to make or break my day. Thankfully, we did well from this morning, but that would have been an easy trade just to close out on there. I thought it was going to hold a higher low. I didn't really set my stop in time. Damn. All right. There can still be time. But for right now, though, guys, we'll keep moving, though. The RIGL, most importantly, guys, although I just got stopped out on my own trade, we're going to keep this on our list, not just because of the run-up here, the volume. The stock is shortable. We ended up doing well early on once it ended up pulling back off its highs. So for right now, if it's not breaking higher, perhaps there's only one other way the stock's going to go, right? As I always say. So definitely, we're going to keep this on our list. All right, June says the VXRT trade's heading down. We'll head back to that in just a moment, guys. I want to go right from top to bottom now at this point. The INMB trade to begin. This was one kind of like EQ from yesterday. We covered that in our Traders Talk workshop earlier today. The INMB trade ended up breaking all-time highs off the pop in pre-market here, I think. I wanted to just double check, but oh yeah, no, I could tell. All right, yeah. So all-time highs really early in the pre-market. By the time the market opened up, or by the time this opened up, ended up tanking. From there, of course, as you could see, ended up finding support roughly around the whole number support 14, if not there, from roughly around pre-market support levels that we had 1350 to low. Ended up moving all the way back up. I ended up, oh man, talk about spoiling a profit on this trade. Or not to say spoiling a profit, but I ended up getting out too soon, or rather, maybe just could have ended up re-entering the trade. I ended up taking like a 7-cent loss on this as it was shaking around the 15. I figured it was due for a push, but I ended up getting in at the wrong time. And I kind of realized that. I averaged down, I squeezed up, I ended up walking away unscathed. And I could have re-entered, I should have. Ended up starting the whole run up here without me. Ended up running from 15 essentially all the way up to the high of the day, 14 or 24-ish rather. Much like we ended up seeing EQ from yesterday. What happened to that, right? Not only from yesterday, ended up dropping off from its highs, ended up this morning just opening up much lower, tanking after the open. At this point now, this stock might be in a better scenario for a push going into the afternoon. Maybe I'll come back to this EQ trade down 40+%. But at least for right now, the INMB trade, getting back to that here, guys. After making such a big move in pre-market, making such a big move shortly after the market opened up, I wouldn't expect much of it. All right, PRCP. I think it's perception. It's called. Yeah, liquid order book. Tight spread, liquid order book. I love to see that. Just trading a very tight range for such a big pre-market move early on. After the open, it dumped off. Ended up squeezing up once already. Kind of like the INMB trade. You know, it kind of pulled back. Volume dropped off a little bit here. The spread's tight. The order book liquid. I like that part of it. Cheap stock too. But for right now, not really looking that great. Here, let's get the price going at this point, guys. IMV, another one from pre-market, dumped off. This one was definitely more of a bust after the open. We couldn't short this on the way down. Never really ended up setting up a great buying opportunity going into the morning. I wouldn't write this completely off for the whole week. I'm not going to put this on our list for the afternoon, but you know, for such a big pop in pre-market early on, and you know, given the drop off here, it has a great range from low to high. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's not, you know, tomorrow, perhaps it's Thursday. If it's not Thursday, perhaps Friday. But it just wouldn't surprise me if this ends up jumping back on the gainers list at some point, you know, this week. All right, that leads me to DARE, D-A-R-E here, and making a really strong push now at this point going into the afternoon. So we had a few shouts on this trade across the whole day. I wasn't in this trade myself as much. A lot of our students ended up picking up 5, 8, 10 cents a pop on a trade like this. You know, for a cheapie, that's a really nice, you know, profit to think about. I mean, a lot of times, and I say this frequently, a lot of times I think that we all get spoiled. I say most of us, at least live in the trading room, because we see it a lot more frequently than most. But, you know, for a stock like INMB here that goes from 14 to 24 in an hour, we see that so much. I think that we get spoiled by, you know, what's a good move or what's not. So, you know, going back to that last one, the DARE trade, listen, if you're picking up 5, 8, 10 cents a pop, that's a really nice catch. Like, really, honestly. You know, going into the afternoon with this pushing up higher, it might become a little bit more volatile. Keep that in mind. We ended up seeing that happen across the board for all of these trades. VXRT, NEO, RIGL, hopefully. We'll end up seeing this push up higher. We'll end up seeing the order book thin out more. For as much as DARE has moved over the last year and a half or so, you could see a lot of these have been pump and dump pre-market trades, or if it's not in the pre-market, after the open, pops up, dumps back down. So, you know, I don't know how long this run's going to last. If it's not today completely, perhaps day over day. But yeah, for right now, we'll see if this could run higher going into the afternoon. All right, let's see what else we have here, guys. EIGI here, nice squeeze going into the early onsets of the afternoon here. Kind of low volume to go from 450-ish up towards 6. Still kind of near the highs. Also still kind of, not even kind of, still very well shortable. If it ends up crapping out the other way, it would be a decent short opportunity. I'll come back to it. I don't mind putting this just on the side for right now. This is EIGI. I didn't really trade this as well this morning. Most of my trading today, guys, have been on NEO, VXRT here, and the RIGL. Those are like my main 3 across the whole day. Oh, yeah, and Icon too. Stupid Icon. I ended up taking one of my few losses today were on Icon. That's why I say that. I thought there was going to be a good buying opportunity around that 120 price. It was beginning to kind of hold a higher low. Then I got stopped out. So for right now, yeah, this trade's not doing it. All right, another one that's looking pretty good, at least across the afternoon. CLBS ended up making kind of a lower volume run up to the high of the day. 260 made a new high, of course, off the pop. A lot of volume got filled on the way up towards 3. Let's see, what is that from 2 o'clock? Could I go back on the tape there? Yeah, like 153. Let's see. Stock doesn't really trade a lot of volume across the time and sales, at least on the bigger block tape. Yeah, I can go all the way back to 153 here. Let's see. Or probably just enough. Maybe, let's say 150. That's the last I can get to here. We ended up seeing a lot of fills beginning from 299. Not even a whole lot here at 3. Look at that. That's pretty odd. You'd figure a whole number like 3 would be a huge level of resistance going into the afternoon here for a trade like this. Ended up holding 3 as support for a bit here, most notably here 3 as resistance. So I guess it's starting to hold, but looks like off the pop, if I'm not mistaken here, we didn't really see a huge iceberg order filled at 3. That's pretty interesting to know. If anything, if we continue to tape read this, obviously the high of the day is 321. Looks like it had a tougher time trying to get up over 315 here. Not one print really stands out on the tape there. All right, looks like there's 10,000 shares on the ask right now for level 3 at 306. Ooh, and a 22,000 share order at 310. So I would say that 310 as of now is a bigger resistance going into the afternoon. And yeah, for the meantime, 3 seems to be one as well, but just be a little wary of that. At least going in here, it's been holding pretty well. Wasn't really that strong before. Either way, it seems like it's just pulling back now at this point. All right. For right now, we'll keep this on our list. CLBS here, with this dropping off. It's kind of making a big Fausto flag on the way down. Higher lows, or equal lows, lower highs, I mean. Support off what seems to be 280 or the VWAP there. All right. We'll keep it moving, though, for right now. The box will from earlier today, we kind of went over this already. Ooh, about time. TTOO. This was the first one I got a ping on from Benzinga earlier this morning. You could see like super early in pre-market, ended up making a pop at 8 o'clock. I mean, obviously it did nothing for a long time. Ended up just creeping up right now and breaking new highs. So I guess it took long enough. But yeah, TTOO, we're pretty familiar with this trade. It's one that we've kind of called off of squeezes going into the close like this or early in the pre-market. So yeah, right away we'll keep this on our list. You have a stack on the bid here around 140, 138. You have a lot of volume on the S. This thing has to cut through in general, but roughly around 169, 170. You have about 97,000. Ooh, geez, even at 175, scratch that. 175 here, guys, at 290,000 share seller. So I would consider 170 minor resistance, 175 major resistance there. All right, Fausto was talking about this lumber liquidators trade going into the afternoon. I got to say, it's holding a higher low as of right now. It's dropping off the highs of the day, but attempting to build a higher low from the 16 level. Still holding pretty strong near its highs right now, and also pretty shortable too. If it ends up crapping out, being a total dud and dropping through support here, then in that case, technically, it would be a decent or interesting opportunity to consider short. But either way, for right now, higher low. We'll see if this can run back up to its highs going into the afternoon. Lumber liquidators. All right, man, I'll tell you guys, we got a lot of familiar names on this list. My size from pre-market popped early on, but, well, not but. I mean, it dropped off earlier today. I mean, kind of holding support here, but maybe tomorrow we'll call this out more. Wouldn't be surprised. We'll get to ALT here pretty quick. Got a few shouts on the ALT trade just from YouTube before. Yeah, the ALT trade. I mean, jeez. It's not to say that we expect this to continue day over day, because honestly, we really don't. We'll take what the stock can give us, right? So, we didn't cover this trade in Traders Talk, but if I were to do a really quick analysis, just to say, probably ended up seeing a larger order get filled on the ask. If it's not right off the 28.30-ish or so high here, then right off 28.50. Once 28.50 broke, there was no looking back. The thing ended up moving all the way up towards 30 at the time, up to 33 essentially. And as of right now, though, this thing's pulling back pretty hard. Maybe this could be support now at this point. The highest here from earlier today, 28 or 28.30-ish or so, whatever this is. Oh, man. Yeah, and the spread's pretty wacky right now, too. I was considering just adding this on the bottom, but for right now, I think I'm going to pass. All right, I think that's it on the gainer side, guys. Oh, actually, nope. I mean, that's a big lie. We got a few more left. Bed Bath Beyond, nice squeeze up going into the well, pretty much across the whole day. I think for right now, not really doing a whole lot near the highs, which of course I do like, but also hard to borrow. Can't short this on the way down. Given the run up today, I wouldn't expect this to make a second huge move going into the final hour here. A few more here, actually. This VSLR looks more interesting. Looks like it made a pump and dump move yesterday. Just see that based off the OHLC. And then this morning, obviously, opened up, popped, pulled back, made a higher low, and took off after. And yeah, this thing's doing really well. Is this all-time highs? We're getting pretty close. Wow, we are getting really close. I think this is the all-time high. Talk about good timing here, folks. I mean, this chart goes back 20 years. So, this is the last day of the daily chart. This may have been the day it was off its IPO. 1871, the all-time high for VSLR. All right, so another one that we might end up seeing, guys, break new highs going into the end of the day. And as we've kind of noted here thus far, even just going back to EQ yesterday, when there's a new all-time high, there's no historical ceiling to work with, so it allows a free range for the stock to run. I mean, we have to still follow what we see on the order book, so we'll make our call-outs based on what we see from, the TradeStation matrix or otherwise bookmap level 4. All right, now we'll hop losers list, see if there's anything looking good from there. The Dow is doing pretty good today, so I wouldn't expect many from the side list at all to be, on the loser side, but there's our EQ. We'll jump back to this one. I said that this might be in the runnings for a higher high going into the end of the day. Dropping off right now, perhaps to make a higher low first. Yeah, I think that there are better ones to focus on right now, guys. If it's today, if it's this afternoon, if it'll be this afternoon. If it's not this afternoon, then I wouldn't really be surprised at all if it's tomorrow morning. I'd be more interested in this trade tomorrow morning if this doesn't break out today. Ooh, not looking too great this trade. OSMT. The DLPN trade. This thing's all over the place on the daily chart. On the gainers list one day, on the losers list the next. DLPN. Yeah, just not really doing anything here. Just checking on Wimmy, another one that ended up breaking all-time highs a few days back. Yeah, I mean, this could be one that we follow going into the close. Has a wacky spread. Order book is very thin. Still a level 5 stock. But I got to say, given the run-up back on Friday and then given the move yesterday, it dropped off a whole ton this morning and overnight. It's still kind of holding strong. If it slams 18 in the VWAP here, this thing might freaking tank. So it's one of those make or break things here. You know what? I'll put YMI on our list here on the very bottom end for right now. If this ends up holding here, pushing up through the 19 level, that would be a more interesting scenario for me to consider going into the afternoon. That would be the only reason why I'm putting this on our list. All right, guys. Let's see. I think that I don't really see any familiar names, at least on the loser side. one or two that I've seen here before, but nothing that I've like traded, anything that I'm like really that familiar with. Whoa, what the heck happened here? All right. Well, I stand corrected. I'm wrong with that last statement, and for that reason, I'm going to put the VHC trade on our list. This is one I am kind of familiar with, and just to see this dropping off right now tremendously, geez, it also is shortable. So that, most importantly, is why I'm putting this on our list. Follow this on the way down. All right, now I'm checking in on the chat board, guys. So if there's anything else, just let me know. Otherwise, across YouTube, Facebook, and of course here the Cyber Group Trading Room. So I'm getting to you guys here first. We got from Chuck Semi, a whole bunch of call outs on Semi. Yeah, really nice run, great call, and a huge gap fill. Look at that on the daily chart, guys. Still has a ways to go to get up to yesterday's high, but otherwise trying to fill that gap. And definitely a really good call here, Chuck. All right, what else we got here, guys? VBIV from Ed. Is this on the list already? No, it's not. Up 11%. Give me a quick sec, Ed. I just wanted to see what I've found this year. Did I skip over it? Oh, yeah, and you know what? Ah, damn, I should have went to it. I thought I did see this on our list. Great catch, though. Really good call. Yeah, for right now, VBIV as well. I may have like a 30 stock watch list for us going into the end of the day, but I mean, it's hard to not put this on as well, Ed. Good call. Also shortable if it's a complete dud and goes the other way. RIGL popped. Oh, goddamn. Oh, man, and this thing stopped me out, too. Look at that. Ended up taking me out underneath 420. Holy smokes. Well, it just made the pop and drop from 450. Keep that in mind. So, you know, for all of the good that this just did, it still has to really make a clean squeeze, I'd say, over that 450 level. If not, I could still see this going the complete other way. So that sucks on my end. I ended up getting stopped out, and this thing ended up running right back up pretty much right from my stop, but it happens. Not often, but ended up doing well from this morning, so it's not make or break for me. Anybody in this trade still at this point? RIGL. Kathleen jumped back in. All right, there we go. All right, Dow pushing up higher, seemingly, you could see. Jake, you're in from 431. All right. Don't pull on me, though, and waste your profit, though. I could have had, like, what, like 50 cents? Just let it go to waste. All right, what else we have from YouTube, Facebook? Anything from you guys over here? BOXL finds support at 190. Just pulled back. I think that comment was a few minutes old too, so it's holding that 180 on 190 right now. For me to be interested in this trade again, needs to hold over 2. Needs to push through 2, back over 2, hold over it pretty nicely. Want to jump back to the VXRT trade, guys, really quick. This one's still on our list for right now. I told you guys I wanted to jump to this before we finished up. Kind of floating around that 16 level for the meantime, but still kind of making a lower high. Looks like a rounded top here, so to say. I could begin to see this shake back down here a bit. FSLR from Doug, First Solar, right? Is this all-time highs on this? I think this might be, because from what oh no, that's not. I think going back into last year, if I'm not mistaken, maybe all-time highs, and I could be even wrong on that. Nope, I am wrong on that. Damn, maybe I'm thinking another stock there, Doug. But yeah, I mean, a nice trend. Just made a new pop over 60. All right. I mean, I like the call. It's up 7+%, a little pricey, but you know what? I'll put it on our list. Might have a few stocks like this, though, Doug. Meaning just with the Dow pushing up as well as it is, you probably have a bunch of stocks that are at its highs, moving up really nicely, probably up anywhere between 5 to 7% or 5 to 10%. Our side list stocks here, at least the airlines, cruise lines, NCLH, a total dud. I've actually taken my eyes off this trade over the last few weeks. RCL holding support off 47.50. Airlines kind of holding stronger near its highs. UAL seems to be on the way back up towards 32. Ooh, Save is having a good day. This is one that's moving a little bit more with the market, perhaps, entirely. Got one here, Run from Peter. Yeah, great call. Between this and VBIV, I guess I skipped over both of those as I was going through the gainer side there. Sunrun. New high of the day. Figure for a range like this and for a squeeze that we've had back-to-back days, 50-cent levels and whole numbers. Also, this might be all-time highs. I don't want to go ahead and say everything that I'm looking at is all-time highs here, but I mean, I'll tell you guys, I think the daily chart here goes back 20 years. 20 years back. And yeah, I mean, this is another one, all-time highs for this RUN trade Run. All right, I'm going to stop myself here. How many do we have now at this point, guys? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Not bad. I thought it was actually a little bit more. All right, so packed house, though, either way, guys. Decent, pretty big list, I should say, heading into this afternoon. So I'll say this to all of us here across the board. I'll say this mainly to us here in the trading room going forward here. But, start and stick with this list. This list is going to provide you, a better opportunity to try and catch a solid pop or break going into the afternoon. If there's nothing from this list that ends up making a very strong push going into the next 10, 15 minutes, at that point, I'd say to rescan the market, see if there's anything else otherwise. Around 3:30 Eastern time, we'll tend to see the HFTs come in, high frequency trading come in. We'll see more volume, of course, being traded across the board going into the close. Perhaps market makers closing out or entering positions going into the end of the day for tomorrow. Otherwise, though, guys, keep in mind that, we'll keep to this list here in the meantime. So if anybody has any questions across the social streams, Facebook Live, YouTube, just let us know. Make sure that you guys subscribe, share, and press the notification bell on the YouTube stream at least. That's the best way of knowing when we're going live, when we're not, and so forth. All right. Question from Elam really quickly here. I was wondering about how you determine your stops. Do you happen to use average, true range, or the same set amount for each trade? So Elam, that's a really good question. For myself, at least, I tend to take what the stock can give me, meaning that, I base my risk off of what the pattern already is on the chart. If my intuition leads me to say if it's not going to, make a very clean run at this point, you know what? I'm not going to risk anything. I'm just going to take a scratch trade or maybe a 2-cent loss. Or otherwise, if I'm inclined to believe that the stock is going to run over a period of time, it might shake around first. Based on what I see is what the next resistance is from level 3, I'll determine my risk. So we teach that, intently in our phase 2 stock course. That's the more intermediate level of our curriculum. All right. We'll be doing that at least not next week, the week after. Next week, we'll be beginning the whole cycle, though, again, just with the phase 1 stock course. And then the week after that, that's the intermediate class that I'd referenced. All right, guys, no problem at all there, Elam. And aside from that, though, guys, I'm going to post and tweet the picks. And as usual, let's try and close out this Tuesday afternoon just as well as we'd opened it up. Take care.